Welcome to the OpenText.org tutorial podcast. This is the first of several that we'll be doing, short ones about OpenText.org. I'm going to start very basically how to get there and then what to do once you get there, and we'll be moving that in a direction that will take us so that by the time you're finished with these initial podcasts, you'll be ready to kind of talk about it and use it a little bit in the classroom as we are using it for Intermediate Greek 1. First thing you want to do is open a browser. I've got Firefox open here. You can open the browser of your choice and you will browse to opentext.org. No surprise there. I would recommend highly that you bookmark this page because you'll be using it quite a bit in this course and even more in the next semester in Intermediate Greek 2 as we go along. I'm not going to go through all of this site, but I will point out a few things with regard to what you see here. First of all, you'll notice that it's really not that fancy looking of a site, and I don't want that to turn you off. There's actually, the tool itself is actually very usable. Has a few quirks here and there, admittedly, but I can tell you that the information that you glean from the model in use with the New Testament is very helpful for understanding Greek, understanding the language of Greek much better, as well as helping out your exegetical work and things like that. So stick with it and keep using it. There are a number of articles and overviews and introductions and the specification guidelines that are made for the model itself. We'll talk more about those in more detail in future podcasts as well as in the face-to-face discussions in our class. For now, what I want you to do is just on the left-hand navigation, I want you to find the introduction link, and this is actually your first reading assignment for this course, is to read this short little page on the introduction to the annotation model itself, and we'll come back and revisit some of the language here as we go. I'll just highlight while I'm here a couple of different things, because it has to do with not only how the model works, but it has to do with how you navigate the site as well. You'll notice that OpenText actually has two levels of annotation within it, built into it. The first, as is listed here, is the clause level annotation. The clause, as you will learn very quickly, for OpenText.org model, and really any kind of functional linguistic model, is the sort of central processing unit of language. It's the level of language. It's higher than just word level, but it's lower than, say, the clause complex or paragraph level. It's also lower than the whole text itself, but it's sort of that central processing unit. It's the level of language where you have propositions that are made in text and where proposals are made in text. And so that is sort of the main focus of the OpenText.org model, as well as most functional linguistic models that you find out there, such as systemic functional linguistics, in which I work and do research as well. So clause level annotation is one of those there. The clauses have several components to them that you'll read about here, SP, C, and A, subject, predicator, complement, and adjunct. There's also a word level annotation. I'll show you that as part of these podcasts as well, just to kind of show you how they work and how you read those particular things. So you'll be able to look at that. And then on the word group level annotation model, you'll see you have things called specifiers, definers, qualifiers, relators. Those are functional terms for things that you already know about actually in Greek grammar. Things like adjectives and adverbs and articles and genitive nouns and prepositional phrases, etc. So we'll come along and talk about those more specifically in a later podcast, but also then in class when we are using the tool. But I show you these two levels of annotation because when you go into the New Testament and you let's go into 1 Corinthians here just by way of illustration, you'll see that you actually have, for 1 Corinthians, you have the clause view, and this is laid out by chapter, and then you also have the word group view laid out by chapter. I will say that you will be in and out of both of these, and so one of the things I've kind of gotten a habit of doing is if I want to look at chapter 1 in the clause level and chapter 1 in the word group level, I actually go ahead and click on chapter 1 in the clause level. I'll explain these boxes in just a moment, but that opens a tab for clause. And the way this is programmed, and I didn't get to choose this, if you were to click word group here, it actually uses the same tab. You'll notice now it's changed. So what I usually do is I load up the clause in one tab, and then I right click on the word group chapter I want and say open link in new tab, so that now I've got both the clause and the word group levels open. And I also like to rearrange these so the clause is to the left and then the word group's on the right. So basically what I've done here is I've gone into OpenText.org, I've clicked the New Testament link, I have clicked the clause link for chapter 1 of 1 Corinthians. I chose the book I wanted first, which was 1 Corinthians. We'll be doing some work in 1 Corinthians this term. Chose chapter 1, and then I right-clicked on chapter 1 on this page and said open a new tab. So now I've got a clause tab and a word group annotation tab. So that is just a basic way of getting this open, getting the information in front of you in what I think is a pretty useful way of looking at it.